What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. To say I'm hyped for this event would be a massive understatement. I worked like it's crunch time to drop this video, working like crazy to get it done because I really like this event. I had fun watching it. I had fun yapping about it here. So I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Brand supremacy returns to the WWE. It had been a while since the brands went face to face and bragged about their show being the best. Now, late 2005 was a bit of a tough one for the WWE, not because of the product, but simply down to the passing of Eddie Guerrero. As I'm making this video, it was about 20 years since Eddie passed away. His death brought a glaring hole to the Smackdown roster, and the world lost one of the most passionate wrestlers out there. And this also led to the implementation of the wellness policy. The wellness policy isn't fully enforced allegedly, but it led to more precautions for the wrestlers, seeing as a lot of these guys were driving themselves to the ground. And of course that came with the schedule, but as always, life moves on. It's the cold hard truth. No matter who you are, you're lost to time. At least with Eddie, he's in the 99th percentile of people. The man is still spoken about to this very day. He's in many of your top 10 favorite wrestlers lists, certainly in mine, but he just appealed to us, Eddie's an icon. Survivor Series 2005 was interesting because it felt like a rivalry between Raw and SmackDown was brewing on and off for 3 years. It was never as explosive as 2005, and I'm glad that WWE didn't abuse that during this era. They created a story simply down to ego, and we'll get into that later, but here, Survivor Series did a great job in feeling like a distinctive show. I think other than WrestleMania, One Night Stand and Vengeance that year managed to bring something different. With that said, Survivor Series was live in the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan on November 27th, 2005. 15,000 fans were in attendance and the buy rate was 400,000, which was much better than 2004's 325,000. Survivor Series is a show that doesn't draw a lot, and the most purchased Survivor Series events were actually 2001 and 2003 with 450,000. The theme song for the show was Lights Out by POD. Alright, with that said, let's get into it. Okay. The first match on the show was the first match in the best of 7 series between Booker T and Chris Benoit for the United States Championship. Booker T got a much needed character change with this heel turn. He was doing average throughout the last 2 years, so it wasn't exactly a huge risk. It's like, it's Booker T, he's not going to do badly as a heel, but he's not going to be doing amazingly, although he did because we all know what happened later on. Chris Benoit was Mr. United States Champion. He brought a high level of respect and honor to the title. He brought a high level of respect and honor to himself inside the ring. Booker brought his wife into this drama and she helped him win the title, but ultimately, the cheating got to him and the title was stripped. Benoit early on had a bit of a hold on the match. This came because of his intensity. Booker challenged his strength and found himself outsmarting the rabid Wolverine. Benoit was a fighter though, and Booker's attempt to take control turned into attempts before it worked out well. Booker T found that edge over Chris Benoit and just laid into him. CTE episode 248 or Booker T made it look incredible. I don't know. Either way, it looked menacing. It looked scary. Big neck breaker from the former champion for a near fall. As always, the heel can't keep control and Benoit hit a German only to walk into a heel kick. While Booker won that exchange, the match was blown wide open. It took him a long time to go for the cover. Benoit's vicious chops pierced Booker's chest and this was the start of his comeback. Snap suplex, and this leads to the hat trick of German suplexes. Sharmell had to interfere to give Booker an opening, but this didn't work because Benoit was a maniac. He hit repeated headbutts, and just as he went for the flying headbutt, Booker avoids it, goes to the pinfall with leverage from the ropes, and Sharmell. That's enough to get the win. Good match. It kind of felt like they weren't trying super hard, seeing as this was the first match in the series. Their later matches are better, especially Armageddon. Here, it was simple and just about starting off the series. Chris Benoit was very respected and you forgot about it for obvious reasons, but this man was valued a lot by the fans and of course the guys in the back. Melina challenges Trish Stratus for the WWE Women's Championship. They actually cared for a women's SmackDown vs. Raw story. Funny enough, this was the first time that Taz and Joey Styles were on commentary. This story came from out of nowhere with Melina wanting to prove that she's the most dominant diva in the WWE. It was a bit of a SmackDown vs. Raw thing, but it was more so about the title. Eminem really had a great and distinctive entrance, and do we need to mention the Melina split? You guys know what I think about it. Right out of the gate, Trish went at it. Plenty of anger and intensity to the point where she sailed through the air and onto Eminem. Great whirly bird into the head scissors. Melina had that green offense, a lot of strikes, the chokes, and that slow pace. Big kick to the arm and on the outside, Mickey's battling with her future rival. Eminem tried to take advantage but ended up being ejected. Melina was still dominant despite this. Trish couldn't figure it out, but at the same time, Melina was getting frustrated. Trish Stratus starts her comeback, handstand head scissors and a spine buster. Mickey makes the save and there's a modified Stratisfaction or a Bulldog for the win. This is much better than you would expect. Melina didn't have a lot of matches under her belt on SmackDown, but they had a lot in this one. Near falls, good spots and moments, and you gotta wonder, what would be of this match if it happened in 2007? It would probably steal the show. Ironically, Mickey and Melina had a banger at Backlash in 2007. They proved to be arguably the greatest rivals to each other. The next match was a last man standing match between Triple H and Ric Flair. This was such an old school feud. Triple H lost his respect for for Ric Flair, thinking he was finished and done. But even then, Flair still proved that he got it by overcoming the game inside a steel cage. That match in particular is a standout in both men's careers, especially for Flair. It was so late in his career, but he still had performances like this. Alright, with that said, the game quickly went on the attack. Flair didn't have time to take off his robe, but he had some tricks up his sleeve. Flair was taking some rough spots during this one. Triple H was doing a by-the-numbers heel performance here, focusing on the back, and it was a simple and easy target for Triple H. The ring post was enough to bust open the Nature Boy, and Triple H, being a student of the game, brought out a screwdriver and continued poking the wound. It was brutal. This is one of Flair's most underrated blade jobs. The blood and the beating wore him down like crazy. None of his offense was hitting as hard. His vision was blurred, and he was standing in front of the most dangerous man on the Raw roster. Triple H provoked him, telling him to stay down for his own good. He grabbed him by the balls, the worst or best submission hold, but Triple H just whacked him with the mic. Of course, Flair can't keep his hands to himself. Typical. And then from out of nowhere, he counters the pedigree and opens way for his own comeback. And there's that famous Triple H selling. He's doing the wobbly thing, and he knows how to get the crowd believing. And with Flair on the opposite role as the face, it makes for a wonderful combo. Flair sold the face buster like his eye was pushed out of its place, and there was this moment where Flair did everything he could to stay in it, but he was tired. So he brought out his last weapon, a low blow, and there's a brutal chair shot. This match was hitting like crazy. It was like crack in the 70s. It's like, oh. Ric Flair finally had a dominant moment and went to work to ruin Triple H's legs in order to win this match. Plenty of purpose behind this. The figure four was causing a lot of problems here, especially with Flair having the leverage to keep the hold in. His legs were destroyed and he had to bring out a clothesline out of desperation. He brought out the steps and drove a straight into Flair's face, but the second attempt didn't work out so well. At this point, it was anybody's match, and there's the pedigree. It clearly wasn't even for the 10 count, so he hit another one. Flair flipped him off, and Triple H was about to open up his entire head with these strikes. And there's the third one. Still not enough. So he brought in a sledgehammer and obliterated his back to score the victory. Wonderful match. Triple H was absolutely filthy here. The guy was vicious and cold, using a screwdriver, stabbing an open wound on his forehead and dissecting an already broken back. Ric Flair was, I believe, 51, which is about 86 in wrestler years. Ridiculous. They told a great story here. It fit a finale properly, and the selling was wonderful here. Both guys brought their best versions of their character here. That demonic final boss Triple H, and the maniacal Ric Flair, who throws everything out there while garnering sympathy from the fans because of his selling. The selling was great. Flair was wincing, struggling to see with blood in his eyes, and on the other side, Triple H failing to properly walk from all the damage that Ric Flair did to his legs. Then you add the brutality of the actual match, yeah, it's a great one. Triple H had to make Ric Flair see the end of the tunnel in order to win. That sledgehammer shot felt like it left Ric Flair at 1 HP ready to retire. It's one of the best WWE matches of 2005, and I don't hear much talk about it. I don't know why, but this feud was such a great old school feud. It felt distinctive and different from any other story at the time. Randy Orton in the back had to swallow his pride and give leadership to Batista, who was the World Heavyweight Champion. Okay. Edge and Lita randomly showed up. Yeah, they might have to hang an image of 05 Lita on the rafters. Mr. Money in the Bank wasn't here to cash in. Instead, he announced his new talk show, The Cutting Edge. Other than The Miz, do wrestlers even have talk shows now? I don't know, but just wanted to mention it. Edge provoked the then Detroit Tigers player Dimitri Young. He made fun of the Tigers, saying they have no chance to be in the World Series, and it's easy here. It's like, why not? He poked into him as a demonstration of what the cutting edge is, and he asked him if it's a lack of talent or a lack of steroids. Edge should have did them a favor and linked them some of the steroids from his cabinet. And Edge said baseball is filled with overpaid crybabies and trashed the city of Detroit for lacking a winning attitude. He made fun of the Pistons for choking. Hey now, Robert Horry has that winning spirit, you know? It's like, what can you do? Edge was quickly offended after Dimitri Young responded. He said, Young hits balls, Edge has none. The city of Detroit has championships, yada yada. You know, he's defending Detroit because he plays for a team in the city. He didn't even need to mention the Red Wings. He's like, look up at the rafters. And he asked Edge about his world championship. He was outraged and shouted that he's leaving like Ford and General Motors. So he got that heat back. A good segment. The first cutting Edge did bring this kind of spirit, with Edge taking shots at Michael Hayes and a good friend of his, the late Terry Gordy. It was clear that Edge was going to win the title soon. They were just buying time. The next match is for the WWE Championship. John Cena defends the gold against Kurt Angle. This feud is a weird one. On Smackdown, they had a much better feud all around, whereas this one centered around John Cena and Eric Bischoff. With Angle, he became the wrestling machine during this feud, but their matches were filled with drama and at times nonsense. I kinda hate it because we saw No Mercy 2003, No Way Out 2005, and all they have to do is be themselves. This time around, Daivari returned to be the referee for this match, or the special referee for this match. Daivari had heat because he's a foreigner. They're like, that damn Daivari. The promo for the match is unfortunately dubbed on the network, but it's great. It makes this seem like an all-out brawl type of match. It's like, we're gonna kick each other's ass, this and that. POD's Lights Out playing, it was good. There was a funny change to Angle's theme song. They start censoring the "You Suck" chant. The thing with Kurt Angle is that he was so over and respected, so they were trying out all of these things to... Wait a minute. I just realized something. So I was watching this show and the time was edited, and I just recalled what was edited. I'm like, what was edited during the show? Now, this moment felt like something straight out of the Chappelle Show. Vince thinking he's hip and casually says the N-word. And keep in mind, nobody is above him. He wrote this himself. And then we had Booker T in shock over what he said, seeing me like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Why the hell did his head move the way it did when he said it? I don't know. He thought he's gangster, he thought he's hip. But yeah, they edited that out of the network as if WWE's clean. And anyways, Angle was popular and they were throwing everything out there, saying he'd make Jesus tap out, and that he's not a big fan of, and this is his quote, not mine, the black people. If Angle's heel run would have continued, he would have called Daivari a terrorist, and they probably would have cheered him. I know for a fact that the FIFA officials would wish to do this with Portugal or Argentina. John Cena is very timid here, and Daivari was favoring his guy blatantly. John Cena was getting some boos here. Daivari refused to count at one point after Cena hit a fisherman suplex, but he was ready to ring the bell when Angle locked in the ankle lock. That was a personal kick. Cena retaliated with a spine buster and then slapped Daivari like he owed him money. He's like, boom. And I don't know what the hell John Cena had with Daivari at the time, but he used to slap him senseless. He wanted to DQ him, but that was gonna accomplish nothing. Drama. Big belly to belly overthrow from Angle. Another referee comes in, and at this point, Kurt Angle gets to work. The crowd was at their loudest here, divided into choosing to hate Cena or love him. And we saw some good action between these two here. Angle having the slight edge, loud Cena sucks chant here. Angle was starting to dominate. He was out wrestling and at times humbling John Cena. Cena brought out a DDT out of desperation. Comeback with plenty of intensity and the fans were booing. Angle randomly decided to clothesline the referee. Low blow. And he called for another one. He hit the Angle slam, but it wasn't enough. Big superplex. 2 count once again. No moonsault. Cena almost hits the FU, but the ref is pulled back in. This works, and Angle uppercuts the referee. He wants Daivari. Cena in the ring hits a DDT on him while Angle's pushing Charles Robinson away. Cena catches him and hits an FU. 1, 2, 3. This is such a weird match. They had some action that was good in here, but they had to throw in this drama. It got comical though, you know, it was funny. When Angle hit Mickey Henson with that uppercut and sent him flying, I was laughing. It was like refilling a soda. Like one referee maybe, but 2 and 3, come on bro. Settle down. I also noticed how much they tried masking Cena here. He was improving, but he was much better a year later with the camel shorts here. This thing was a bit silly. I despise the fact that this was the last Angle and Cena match. They could have done better. I think it was better than Unforgiven, but man, if this did happen any time in the future, it would have been a memorable battle. But here, it was just referees dying to the point where they had to bring out a Smackdown referee to end the match. It was ridiculous. I do like the match a bit more than I did heading into, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but it's not exactly a memorable one. Eric Bischoff and Theodore Long face off. Teddy Long was dancing like a grandfather here, although he probably was a grandfather at this point. Eric Bischoff wasn't putting that martial arts to good use. There it is. And then we got Vince McMahon's dick shiner saying Eric Bischoff never played by the rules in WCW. Yeah, we're still talking about this, as if they didn't buy wrestlers from the territories and all that stuff. Like, bro, this propaganda sucks, legitimately. And I'm not breaking any new ground here, but think about it for a moment. We're watching Eric Bischoff here. We don't even need to mention his WCW past, the way he's cheating, this and that. It's propaganda, it's false information. These guys lost the crowd the moment the match began. Let's not lie. Then the Boogeyman showed up and ended up helping Theodore Long score the victory. And if you're like, what happened during the match? Eric Bischoff was just choking Teddy Long, who brought out his shoe, blasted him with it. Then it was back to choking. It's nonsense. And the less said about this match, the better. It legitimately sucks. They can't counter properly. Everything's so obvious, and that's because they're not wrestlers. We don't expect them to, but they put them in there anyways. And the main event, Smackdown versus Raw in a Survivor Series elimination match. It's a good way to promote the games, but I'm glad that this was a one and done thing during this era. This has an actual story to it, with Eric Bischoff embarrassing the Smackdown roster by turning the lights off. Now, there was no set role for this story, but I'd lean towards Smackdown being the faces. They even turned JBL into a courageous hero for the brand. The late Eddie Guerrero was supposed to be in this match, but sadly died during the build-up to the match. We don't know the extent of Guerrero's involvement in the ending of the match, but it's not hard to consider that maybe that face turn he had was false and a setup. There was also some tension between Randy Orton and Batista. Their issue extends beyond leadership, and it was clear that WWE's intention was to have them face off at WrestleMania 22. One has to wonder if they would have main evented that show. Jerry Lawler and the coach laughing like they don't have Carlito and Chris Masters on their team, like, look at this, Team SmackDown's better. The commentary were yapping like crazy here.
what's up now?
Like the way it ended in 2003 was the same way it started with Orton and Michaels facing off. Fast wrestling early on with HBK teasing Orton. I don't know if this was like a video game where they're NPCs forgetting what's going on in the damn ring with these major stars, the main event of the damn show, but these guys were arguing with each other constantly, and I'm thinking to myself, who the hell wants to hear any arguments made about Jonathan Coachman? Like, we got plenty of other things in life to deal with. The last thing we want to do is hear about Jonathan Coachman, the discussion of Jonathan Coachman in the damn main event. Call the damn dropkick in the ring instead of talking about the coach. Bobby Lashley is presented as SmackDown's new weapon. He embarrassed Chris Masters. Carlito ran from the ground but thrown in against his will. He was dominant, but then Kane chokeslammed him. He was the first one out. Big Show and Kane were the disruptors. They were causing a lot of trouble. Ray tried building up some momentum, but then Kane just swatted him with a boot. He's like, boom. Ray struggled a lot, and Batista had to tag in. The animal was hurting and taped up, but he was still a powerhouse. With the help of Rey Mysterio, they managed to eliminate Kane. Big Show tries to take advantage, then behind the referee's back, Big Show and Kane double team him like they did twice that week, and that was enough to eliminate the World Heavyweight Champion. These two were powerhouses. They were monstrous. What followed was a colossal effort from Team SmackDown. The Big Show looked like a big dilemma here as all three of the guys hit their finishers twice, but even then he was still getting up. JBL is getting worried, he's getting paranoid, and Ray completed this elimination with a seated senton. It was crazy. Everything was thrown at this guy. He's still moving, and doubts were circulating, but they managed it. The match was hitting at this point, you know. There's a reason why I was enjoying it. It was because of the spots that were happening here, the way they had to eliminate Big Show. I was very into the match. JBL on the outside hit a follow-away slam on HBK, who was knocked out. JBL and Ray worked as a great team, not knowing they're a team. Carlito was caught with a brutal clothesline from hell, and he was eliminated. Masters struggled a lot with HBK down on the outside, and he couldn't overcome this deficit. Shawn Michaels was left alone. Ray was about to zero in on a win for SmackDown after connecting with the 619, but from out of nowhere, Raw intro, you guys know, Michaels hit Sweet Chin Music. 1, 2, 3. Alright, 2-on-1. JBL's explosive offense worked many times during this match, but not here. Another Sweet Chin Music. Randy Orton was too cocky for his own good. Big plancha. We want Taker chance intensifying, and I'm yapping, but all of this was happening at once. HBK was becoming a big problem for the Legend Killer. He hits the elbow and he's ready to tune up the band, but then JBL comes in with a chair and gets the super kick. Orton takes advantage with an RKO. 1, 2, 3. The Soul Survivor once again. Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, and SmackDown has won Survivor Series. The sub-mid-carders of SmackDown come out and celebrate. They're like, yay, Orton got us the win, we're still mid-carders. And then you hear the bells, and it's Orton's worst nightmare. The beginning of the end. He didn't want to believe it, but reality is a different story. Now, this is one of the best returns The Undertaker had ever made. He pushes down that Fury door, looks like a badass, looks like the final boss, and we just want to say this is one of his best looks. The beard made him look like an experienced veteran of the business. It kind of made him a bit more menacing and a bit more unpredictable, which falls in line with the Undertaker character. The lower card guys scramble, they're jumping around. Paul Burchill gets knocked down with a poke. That wasn't even a strike. I don't know what Regal's doing here. He sells a tombstone like a V. I don't know if he was enlightened on some chakra or yoga, and I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's just bizarre tombstone. Matt Hardy runs away even though he's supposed to take a tombstone here. The poor guy thought he was too big for the program. And Randy Orton had to regroup and consider his next plan after realizing that his sworn rival is back. That's how you end a show. The beginning of the end, as the commentary said, and as the show itself promoted before Survivor Series. Now, this is one of the best elimination matches. When you see people talk about it, I feel like they tend to underrate it. The action flowed very well. Very interesting, not a single dull moment in here, which is very important to mention. I enjoyed this one a lot, and I can't put many Survivor Series elimination matches above this one because most of the Survivor Series matches didn't have a build. This one, on the other hand, did. It had the best build out of any Survivor Series match, elimination match, and of course, a great follow-up. I actually do not have a single issue with this match at all. Maybe the star power, but even then, that's not an issue because they put in good performances here. JBL was low-key the star of the match, I'm not gonna lie. The way he was hunting down the Raw guys with the clotheslines, he looked like a menace. I thought this was a very enjoyable Survivor Series match. It's one of the best ones, definitely. They didn't have to rely on too much melodrama. The commentary sucked though, like the commentary was so damn annoying. And obviously they were probably motivated to talk trash to each other by the boss himself, but it was just too much yapping, like they need to shut up. But it was a great match. It capped off what was a solid Survivor Series. So that Survivor Series, solid event all around. I do think they butchered the John Cena and Kurt Angle match by making it overbooked drama and all that stuff. The referees were coming out like NPCs, not realizing that Kurt Angle was going to destroy them. But other than that, I don't think there was... Well, I think my mind did me a great favor by having me forget about this match. But other than that, solid event all around. The Survivor Series elimination match delivered. It's not like crazy insane or something like that, but it's a good match. I'd say it goes around great. I do think the final stretch should have been more dramatic, but it's no issue. They ended up having Undertaker return, so there's that. But yeah, solid Survivor Series, better than 04's and better than 06. So yeah. Alright, what did you guys think of Survivor Series 2005? Please comment down below, and that's for this video. Make sure you hit the FU on the like button and perhaps a tombstone on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.